Well, hello there, friends, and welcome back to Royalty USA. I am Lina, your royal news reporter, and today I have a story that is equal parts joyful and complicated and genuinely fascinating from a royal watching perspective. Because on the surface, today's story is simply wonderful news. A baby is coming, a young woman and her husband are expecting their third child, and two little boys are going to become big brothers, and the late Queen Elizabeth is going to have her 15th great-grandchild. And all of that is beautiful and worth celebrating with everything we have. But underneath that beautiful surface, there is a story that has royal experts genuinely divided, a debate that goes to the very heart of what the modern monarchy is and what it should be. And a single word missing from an official palace announcement that tells you more about where this family stands right now than almost anything else could. So pour yourself something warm, friends, and let Lina walk you through every layer of this extraordinary story. Let us start with the joyful part first, because it deserves its moment before we get into the complexity. Princess Eugenie has revealed she is pregnant with her third baby in an adorable surprise post to Instagram. The royal shared a snap of her ultrasound image clutched in the hands of her two sons, August and Ernest. And, oh, friends, if you have seen that photograph, it is just the most precious thing. Two little boys holding up their baby siblings' ultrasound picture. Ernest was dressed in a Chelsea football kit, and August wore a gray long-sleeve top. Just two ordinary little boys in their everyday clothes holding something extraordinary. Eugenie captioned the post "Baby Brooksbank due 2026, accompanied by red heart emojis. Simple, warm, real. The kind of announcement that makes you smile immediately and completely. Unofficial royalty +2. In less than half an hour, the announcement post had already garnered over 20,000 likes. 20,000 likes in 30 minutes? Because people love Eugenie. They genuinely do. She has conducted herself throughout one of the most difficult periods any member of the royal family has ever faced with extraordinary grace and dignity. And this news, this wonderful, happy news of a new baby coming, feels like a ray of genuine sunshine breaking through what has been a very long and very dark cloud over her family. Unofficial royalty. The new arrival will become the 15th in line to the throne and will be the late Queen Elizabeth II's 15th great-grandchild. Queen Elizabeth's 15th great-grandchild. I love that detail so much because even now, years after her passing, the family she built and the love she poured into it keeps growing, keeps expanding, keeps bringing new life into the world. And I think she would have been absolutely over the moon about this baby. Unofficial royalty. Now let me tell you about the palace announcement, because this is where the story gets really interesting. Buckingham Palace confirmed the news, and the statement in full read: Her Royal Highness Princess Eugenie and Mr. Jack Brooksbank are very pleased to announce that they are expecting their third child together due this summer. August, aged 5, and Ernest, aged 2, are also very excited to have another sibling join the family. His Majesty the King has been informed and is delighted with the news. Unofficial royalty now on the surface that sounds like a perfectly normal and perfectly warm palace announcement. And it is. But royal watchers noticed something immediately. Something that was not there, something that was present in the announcement of Princess Beatrice's second pregnancy back in 2024, but is completely absent from this one. Compare this to the announcement of Princess Beatrice's second pregnancy in 2024, and the difference is subtle but interesting. The 2024 announcement said, His Majesty the King has been informed, and both families are delighted with the news. But the 2026 announcement for Eugenie says only, His Majesty the King has been informed and is delighted. Both families are gone. Just the King. Trend Hunter. Both families. 2 words. Gone. And their absence tells an entire story in itself. Because both families would include Andrew's family, would include Sarah Ferguson, would include the Yorks, and in the current climate, with Andrew stripped of his titles, questioned by police for 11 hours under ongoing investigation, living in exile at Marsh Farm, including both families in a joyful royal announcement, would have created a headline that nobody wanted. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's family celebrates Eugenie's pregnancy. That is not a headline that helps Eugenie. That is not a headline that helps the palace. And so those two words were quietly, deliberately, carefully removed. Omitting any mention of the wider family in the 2026 statement is something that was both deliberate and clever. Eugenie and Beatrice have both been keeping incredibly low profiles for months now following Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Sarah Ferguson's dramatic fall from grace. Incredibly low profiles. These are two women who have done absolutely nothing wrong, who have conducted themselves throughout their father's scandal with complete dignity and restraint. Neither of the princesses attended the royals' Easter service, and King Charles is said to have been the one royal fighting their corner in recent months. King Charles, who has more reason than most to distance himself from Andrew, has been fighting for his nieces, trying to protect them, trying to ensure they are not swallowed whole by a scandal that belongs to their father and not to them. Trend hunter, trend hunter. Now, let us talk about what the experts are saying, because this is where the story splits into two very different directions, and both sides make genuinely interesting arguments. On one side, you have the people who say the palace congratulating Eugenie was a terrible mistake. Royal expert Hilary Fordwich told Fox News Digital, "This is joyous news for the couple at a time when the debauchery, deceit, and disgusting behavior of her father have loomed large over their lives. And while she celebrates the personal joy, she and others argue that the official palace acknowledgement, the formal Buckingham Palace statement, the Instagram post from the royal family account, sends a confusing message to the public about where the boundaries of the royal family actually are. Royal family. The argument goes like this. King Charles has spent considerable political capital shrinking the working monarchy, removing Andrew's titles, evicting him from Royal Lodge, making clear through every possible signal that the Yorks are no longer part of the working royal family. And then Buckingham Palace puts out an official statement congratulating Eugenie on her pregnancy. Which is it? Are the Yorks in or out? Are they royal or not? And if they are not working royals, why is the palace making official announcements about their pregnancies? A number of users questioned the announcement's prominence on official channels, while others referred to ongoing discussions about the roles of non-working members of the royal family. Some questioned why Eugenie still uses the HRH, Her Royal Highness title, despite not carrying out official royal duties. These are legitimate questions, and they go to the heart of something that the monarchy has been wrestling with for years. Where exactly does the working royal family end and the private extended family begin? Hello. But here's the other side of this argument, and I want to make sure I give it the full and fair hearing it deserves, because I think it is actually the more compelling argument of the two. Eugenie did not choose her father. She did not choose the scandal. She did not choose to be born a princess or to have the name York or to be associated by blood with a man whose behavior has been so deeply harmful and so profoundly damaging to the institution she is part of. She is a young woman expecting her third baby, a young woman who has kept her head down throughout one of the most painful public family crises in modern royal history, a young woman who, by all accounts, has conducted herself with complete dignity and genuine grace, and she deserves to have her baby celebrated. She deserves for the palace to say congratulations without that congratulations being treated as some kind of institutional statement about her father's rehabilitation. Many royal fans who left comments said, "Stop blaming the daughters for the parents' sins. They did nothing wrong and have led respectable lives." And I agree with that completely. Holding Eugenie responsible for Andrew's sins is not fair. It is not right. And refusing to celebrate her baby because of who her father is would be a cruelty that she simply does not deserve. Hello. The palace clearly tried to navigate this impossible middle ground with some skill. Omitting any mention of the wider family was both deliberate and clever. They congratulated Eugenie. They did not mention Andrew or Sarah Ferguson. They made the announcement about Eugenie and Jack and August and Ernest and the new baby, and kept it firmly there. That is not a terrible mistake. That is actually a rather elegant solution to an almost unsolvable problem. Trend hunter. Now I want to tell you something about Eugenie that I think is genuinely wonderful and that speaks volumes about the kind of woman she is. Princess Eugenie had taken a 6-month hiatus from social media, but has returned with a splash, sharing this adorable announcement to celebrate her pregnancy. 6 months of silence. 6 months of keeping her head down while the world wrote story after story about her father. 6 months of protecting her family and her children from a news cycle that has been relentless and often cruel. And then she came back, not with a statement about her father, not with a defense of her family. She came back with a photograph of 2 little boys holding an ultrasound picture and 4 words. Baby Brooksbank, due 2026. That is class, that is grace, that is a woman who knows exactly who she is and refuses to let anyone else's story define her own. Unofficial royalty. Good news has been in short supply for the royal family in recent months. Andrew has been forced to give up his royal titles and relocate from Royal Lodge in Windsor to the Sandringham estate. The former prince is facing mounting pressure to answer more questions about his involvement with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Against all of that darkness, this baby is a light, a real, genuine, human light. And Eugenie chose to share that light with the world at the exact moment when her family needed it most. I do not think that was an accident. I think Eugenie understands the power of joy, and she chose to use it. CNN. And what about King Charles in all of this? King Charles is said to have been the one royal fighting their corner in recent months. The one royal. Not William, who has maintained his very firm and very necessary public distance. Not other members of the family who have found the association with Andrew too toxic to manage. Charles, who as the monarch has to make the hardest decisions about the shape and the future of the institution, who stripped Andrew of his titles, who evicted him from Royal Lodge, who has done every difficult and necessary thing, and who has also quietly, consistently been fighting for his nieces, making sure that Beatrice and Eugenie, who did nothing wrong, are not lost in the wreckage of their father's scandal. Trend hunter. It is well known that Andrew and Sarah are both totally besotted with their children and grandchildren. And this new baby, this little Brooksbank due in the summer of 2026, will be Andrew's 5th grandchild. A grandfather living in exile at Marsh Farm, a man whose world has shrunk to almost nothing. And somewhere in that small world, there will be photographs of grandchildren, of August and Ernest and the new baby, and that the love of a grandfather for his grandchildren is perhaps the last uncomplicated and untarnished thing in Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's very complicated life. Royal family. I want to close today by coming back to Eugenie, because this is ultimately her story and her baby and her joy, and she deserves to have it celebrated purely and simply for what it is. A new life coming into the world, a family growing, 2 little boys about to become big brothers, and a mother who has carried herself through one of the hardest years of her life with extraordinary dignity and grace, and who now gets to announce Baby Brooksbank, due 2026, and feel the world respond with love. That is the royal family, friends, at its most complicated and its most human. A baby announcement that is simple and joyful and loaded with history all at once. A palace trying to celebrate without complicating. A king fighting for his nieces behind the scenes while making the hardest decisions in front of the cameras. And a young woman with 2 little boys. And a new baby coming who chose to come back to the world, not with a statement about scandal, but with an ultrasound picture and a red heart emoji. That is Eugenie, and Lina thinks she is magnificent. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today here at Royalty USA. If this story moved you in any direction, joy or frustration, or somewhere beautifully in between, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves the royal family as much as you do. And if you have not yet subscribed to Royalty USA, please hit that red button right now, because we have So much more wonderful royalty to pour together, and I want you here for every single drop of it. Leave me a comment below. Do you think the palace was right to congratulate Eugenie officially? Or was it a mistake? I want every single one of your thoughts. I read every comment, and I love every one of you. Until next time, God save the king, God bless America. This is Lina, and Royalty USA will see you very soon, darlings.